Hello everybody, David here, and this is another archetype breakdown for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. And in this particular breakdown, we're going to take a look at one of the new archetypes that is presented in the Sword Coast Adventures Guide, and this is the Arcana Domain for the Cleric class. So, whenever you choose a class in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, several things happen. First, you are going to get a core class, say for this instance the cleric. You're going to get a set of core features or skills from levels 1 to 20. Now take into consideration you're going to get quite a few things, from spellcasting to channel divinity, and multiple channel divinities a day. You're going to get to destroy undead, you're going to get ability score improvements, you're going to get divine domain features for your divine domain. And this is what we're going to talk about now. So, whenever you choose your core class, you get more flavor to go on top of this. Meaning, okay, what kind of cleric do I want to be? Do I want to be a cleric that just heals? Do I want to be a cleric that fights in battle? Do I want to be a more knowledgeable type of cleric? But in this instance, what we're going to be looking at is the Arcana Domain, and you're going to get to add more features that are on top of all these base features with the Arcana Domain. And now, the Arcana Domain, this gives your cleric that flavor that is going to set your cleric different and set your cleric apart from other clerics. So the Arcana Domain is more of like exactly what it sounds, arcane magic. And usually magic from the arcane arts is usually your wizards, your sorcerers, sometimes your warlocks. So, but now with this special archetype, the cleric gets to dabble in arcane magic. Now, the arcane magic that you're going to get is not going to be as powerful as, say, a wizard would be, but you will still get to dabble in the arcane arts. So we will go ahead and get started. Like I said, you're going to get a numerous amount of features for the cleric, levels 1 through 20. You're going to get to cast the same amount of spells as the traditional casters, as the druid, the wizard. So don't worry there. Nothing like that is going to change. All of your, your hit points, your proficiencies, all that is going to stay the same. We're going to take a look at the Arcane Domain, the Arcana Domain. And like I said, this is where you're going to take the arcane magics from the multiverse and intertwine this into your cleric magic. So whenever you choose the Arcana Domain, which is going to be at level 1, you are going to get some more. You're going to get arcane domain spells basically. And you're going to get Arcana Domain spells when your cleric's level 1, level 3, level 5, level 7, and level 9. And what the domain spells mean are this. Whenever you have a spell that is labeled domain, that means that you do not have to daily prepare that spell. And that spell will always be available to you on a daily basis where you can expend your spell slots. Alright, so make sure you go to Chapter 9 in the Player's Handbook, read about spellcasting, and know the difference between your spell slots and your daily pool of spells memorized. But your domain spells, those are free. And every one of these different divine domains that the cleric can take, they all have a different list of domain spells catered for their particular, their archetype that they are. So for the Arcana Domain at first level, you will get Detect Magic and Magic Missile. Clerics never get Magic Missile, so Magic Missile is actually a really good spell. I'm really happy to see the Arcana Domain get Magic Missile at level 1. So this is, like I said, these are spells that you do not have to count as part of your daily spells memorized. Then at level 3, you're going to get Magic Weapon and Nystel's Magic Aura. Then at level 5, you will get Dispel Magic and Magic Circle. Then at level 7, you will get Arcane Eye and Leomund's Secret Chest. Very interesting spell. And then finally at level 9, you will get Planar Binding and Teleportation Circle. So that's just some of the bonuses that you're going to get as you choose the Arcana Domain archetype. Now, also you're going to get some features, and you're going to get 5 of those spread out between the first 16 levels of the Arcana Domain. Now, when you choose the domain at level 1, not only are you going to get your spellcasting, everything else here, you're going to get your, the Divine Domain, which is here, and it is called Arcane Initiate. Now, what Arcane Initiate does is, when you choose this domain, the Arcane, the Arcana Domain, you will gain proficiency in the Arcana skill. So you will now get to add your proficiency bonus with any kind of Arcana checks. Now here's another cool thing. You're also going to gain 2 cantrips of your choice from the Wizard's spell list. Now there is one stipulation for this. Now for you, these cantrips will count as cleric cantrips. So even though these are not official designated cleric spells, seeing that you are Arcana Domain, you will get to go to the Wizard's cantrip list, choose 2 of those if you want to, and these cantrips will count as cleric spells. And at level 1, you will get to choose 3 cantrips. And then as you rise in level, you'll notice that you'll get another cantrip at 4, another one at 10, and I believe that's it. So you'll know eventually 5 cantrips. And 2 of those can be from the Wizard spell list, which is really nice. And especially if you're going Arcana Domain, I would expect you to definitely take advantage of that and take a couple of cantrips. So you're going to get that automatically at level 1. Really nice feature right off the bat. You're going to get proficiency in arcane skill checks, and you're going to get to choose 2 of the Wizard cantrips. Now, all clerics, starting at level 2, they get to use Channel Divinity. And Channel Divinity, it takes your standard action to use, and it's sort of like a special thing that a cleric can do. Most notably, the most famous of all of these is Turn Undead. Now, when you take this Arcana Domain, you're going to get Arcane Abjuration, which is sort of like Turn Undead, but it works for different creatures besides undead. So it kind of models Turn Undead, and it's really, actually, it does almost to the T. So you're going to get this at level 2, and you're also going to get Turn Undead and whatever other channel divinities that the cleric will get. So as an action at 2nd level, you can present your holy symbol, and 1 celestial, elemental, fey, or fiend of your choice that is within 30 feet of you must make a wisdom saving throw, provided that the creature can see or hear you. And if the creature fails that wisdom saving throw, then it will be turned for 1 minute, or there's 6 seconds in a round, so you figure 1 minute is 10 rounds, and it will be basically turned for 1 minute or until it takes any damage. So you're kind of wondering, okay, so what does turn mean? So a turn creature must spend its turn trying to move as far away from you as it can. It's basically petrified or scared of you. And it cannot willingly end its move in a space within 30 feet of you. So it needs to get away as fast as it can. Now, when it's also turned, it can't take reactions. And for its action, when it is its turn, the only thing that it can do is use the dash action to get away from you, which the dash action is double movement. Or if the creature, if one of these, elementals or celestials, fey, or fiend that you've used this abjuration on, if it can't move any further away from you, then it can take its action and use the dodge action. So it basically goes into a defensive mode. And then after you reach 5th level, and when one of these celestials or elementals or fays or fiends fails its saving throw, instead of turning it, now you're going to banish it, as you would be using the banishment spell. And when you banish something, you send it to another plane of existence. And there's a little table here that tells you, because all of the monsters in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition have a CR or challenge rating assigned to it. So whenever you're 5th level, any creature that is 1/2 challenge rating or lower, meaning 1/4 or 1/8 or 0, that means that that creature would automatically banish to another plane for 1 minute, or 60 seconds, or 10 rounds. At 8th level, you can banish challenge rating 1 creatures or lower. Level 11, challenge rating 2 creatures or lower. Level 14, challenge rating 3 or lower. And then at 17, finally, you'll be able to banish challenge rating 4 creatures and lower. So it's actually a pretty nice feature. It works the same way as Turn Undead does. But Turn Undead destroys the creatures, but in the case here of Arcane Abjuration, you're sending them to another plane for 60 seconds, which is really nice. Sort of like a controlling aspect. So next you're going to get, at level 6, you will get Spellbreaker, and this can be actually pretty interesting as well. And this is when you are going to use a spell and you restore hit points to an ally of a first level spell or higher. You can also end one spell of your choice on that creature. And the level of the spell you end must be equal to or lower than the level of the healing spell you just used to cast on that target. So basically, if the player has a curse on it or whatnot, has a certain level curse, if you heal it, then also you can spell break it, get rid of that curse also, as long as that spell is equal to or lower level than that spell that you just cast on it. Pretty nice. Next, at level 8, you are going to get Potent Spellcasting. This is really nice, especially for 8th level. This is where you're going to get to add your Wisdom modifier to the damage you deal with any Cleric cantrip. Very nice. So the last thing is I want you guys not to forget about is your 2 available Wizard cantrips that you have available to you at 1st level. So remember, it told you in that feature that they are now considered Cleric cantrips. So you will be able to add your Wisdom modifier to the damage you deal to the Cleric cantrip, because normally you do not add any kind of damage bonus. Just it's whatever the spell says. So if you're using, take for instance, if you take Firebolt, which is a castable Wizard cantrip, then if you hit with the spell, then you would just do the 1d10 fire damage. But with Potent Spellcasting, you will do 1d10 plus your Wisdom modifier. So you could get 4, 5, 6 bonus damage from Firebolt. Pretty nice. But it also depends on, what your ability score is also. So the last thing that you're going to get is at 17th level, and this is the bread and butter. And unfortunately, you have to wait till 17th level, but you'll see why. And this is where you get to choose 4 spells, any 4 spells from the Wizard's spell list, 1 from each of the following spell levels: 6, 7, 8, and 9. There are a lot of badass spells, especially in the Wizard spell list at level 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now, when you choose those 4 spells, you'll add them to your list of domain spells. How cool is that? So not only are you going to get this massive amount of domain spells already, these 10 spells, you're going to get to add a spell level 6, 7, 8, and 9. How cool is that? That is just tops right there. So you never have to you never have to have that prepared as one of your daily spells. It's just always ready to go. They are always prepared, and they count as cleric spells. So there you go, everybody. There is the new divine domain called the Arcana Domain for the cleric class in Dungeons and Dragons 5e. Once again, this is out of the new Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition Sword Coast Adventurers Guide. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you enjoyed the breakdown. And don't forget to leave a comment down below. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't. Share, like, do whatever you want to do. Anyways, until next time, I'm Dave, and I'll see you later, and happy gaming.